Welcome, everybody. This is the Stephen and Paul podcast from Haus, and welcome. My name's Stephen Leckie. Arrived in Dubai 2003, and I'm an associate director of Haus. What about you, Paul?
Hello, Stephen. Thank you. My name's Paul Charland. I came to Dubai in 2005. Left a couple of times, and I'm also an associate director at Haus.
That's a recent thing, isn't it?
It's a recent thing, yes.
Yeah.
We were.
Were you quite surprised by that?
It was announced in the March monthly meeting that we'd been promoted to associate directors, which was a very proud moment for us both, I'm sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about ourselves. We're going to talk about the market, and we're going to concentrate on the market today because we've been told to.
Yeah.
Now, I think we all know it's been an extremely busy start to the year. We've had a record amount of inquiries. That started from literally the second week in January. That's continued. It's ongoing. I think we're in a position at the moment where, and this is, to me, this is not usual. Doesn't always happen in any property market, but we're going through a period at the moment where we have the entry-level developments and master communities. We have the mid-range, we have absolute prime, and we have Expo. And we're going to just touch on all of those, effectively sort of 3-4 different investment choices depending on your strategy. And with that, me and Stephen are going to start with talking about Dubai Hills, Arjan and JVC. Over to you, Stephen.
Yeah, so look, things have changed in Dubai. They're constantly changing. The dynamics of the population are changing constantly. And one of the things that we have been discussing in the office is that when we first arrived, it was all single people mostly, wasn't it? And then people were coming over here and staying for 1 or 2 years and then leaving very shortly. Contracts were ending and they were getting out quite quickly. Hardship posting, we've mentioned it a couple of times before. And these days, people are staying a lot longer. They're meeting their partners, they're having kids, they're having families, and they're moving into larger apartments and townhouses and villas. And we were looking at how that is going to affect the property market and what's available and what the developers are building over the next few years. And Paul came up with some quite amazing statistics, or at least Paul didn't, but someone in the company did on behalf of Paul because he asked them to.
Yeah, I'd like to say thanks to Ernst for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Very, very good information.
So do you want to just
yes, I will.
Give us your take on what's going on. Because we're both in complete agreement.
Okay, so this is the general take, the position we've taken on what's happening in the Dubai market over the next few years. So the population today, just to recap, is around 3.6 million. We speak to all the relocation companies, the schools. We know what's going on in Dubai. We've got 100 leasing agents. We know what nationalities are coming in. We know what properties they're looking for. And there is circa around 200,000 people moving to Dubai a year. So simple maths, that puts the population at about 5 million by 2030. Now, this is something which we've been looking at, and this is to move on from that. Now, as we know, there's a lot of people moving here, a lot of people moving here from Europe. So say young families, couples, obviously singles, a whole diverse range. Now, ideally, obviously, a family, you would argue they'd want to live in a townhouse or a villa. Now, unfortunately, with the amount of people moving to Dubai and the amount of properties that are being built, not everybody's obviously going to be able to afford a townhouse or a villa. So their option is going to be a 2 or 3 bed apartment. Now, we know the most popular expat areas are in that sort of Al Qudra corridor where you've got Dubai Hills, you've got Arjan, you can sort of do the right onto Al Khal, go to JVC. Behind that, you've got Arabian Ranches. Now, to get to the important point, in a couple of years' time, with all these people moving here, the ones who can't afford the townhouses, who want to be in that area where a lot of international schools are, a lot of expats, your shopping malls, all the things that we like, you're still only 15, 20 minutes from the beach. That is a main area. Now, this is the important part that I'm getting onto. This is the breakdown of units. Now, what we see in these 3 areas, Dubai Hills, Arjan and JVC. Now, we know they're 3 different areas. We know Dubai Hills is considered as the #1 master community in Dubai. We know that Arjan and JVC are seen in a similar light, different areas, sort of similar prices, same sort of master communities. JVC, it's a bit gritty, it's a bit sort of old and new, but it's got a community there and people like it. You know,
got a mall.
It's got a mall. It's got some great places to go at the weekend. My sons live there. You know, Goose Island, Trattoria, McCafferty's. So it's a great place. As I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea just because it's a bit messy in places, but people like it. Now you've got Arjan, same price, opposite Dubai Hills. Similar price point. That's Dubai Properties. It's being better planned. We can see the roads and landscaping going in now, and we think actually that will be prettier than JVC in a few years' time. Then effectively on the other side of the road, we've got Dubai Hills, Emaar, lots of apartments, lots of townhouses, lots of villas. Now I'll get to the important point. This is the breakdown of the units in these communities. Now, bear in mind the amount of people moving here. This is the important point. Couples and young families who traditionally would have gone for a townhouse or a villa. Okay, so we'll start with Arjan. In total, there is over 6,000 studios and 6,700 one-beds, which are completed or under construction. In total, there's 329 three-beds. We're going to Dubai Hills. So in total, there is over 2,800 one-beds. They've only got a few studios. They don't do studios, only 85. There's 1,500 three-beds, so a third. It's a tenth in JVC, a third in Dubai Hills. And then Jumeirah Village, Circle, we've got 25,000 one-beds, 13,000 studios, and 1,000 three-beds. So what we're saying is, when you're looking at these areas, the people who would have taken a townhouse, who won't be able to afford a townhouse in 1 or 2 years' time, their option is going to be a 2 or 3 bed apartment in these areas. There is a massive undersupply of these units in those areas, which we're quite confident, were we to do studies of different master communities in Dubai, would be the same reflection, a shortage of the bigger units. So from that, when we're speaking to our investors, this is the point we raise. Now I'm going to finish there. You carry on, Stephen, with your thoughts.
Yeah, did you mention the 2 beds as well? How many?
I didn't really go on to the 2 beds. I was sort of 1 to 3, but please talk about the 2 beds. So, I was leaving that to you.
Thank you, leaving something for me. So look, if one bed's astonishing a number of studios and one beds, because most agencies, most developers, their buildings are predominantly ones and one beds. That's the major part of any development. It makes more financial sense for them to build one beds, and they're pitched to investors as such.
Yes, a good return for a cheaper investment.
Cheaper investment, exactly. And they work very well on short-term and long-term vacation, short-term holiday lets, etc. I personally, in all of those areas, the best capital growth that you will receive on those apartments are on the 2s and 3 beds. It's always been the case. You will get probably slightly better yields on one beds and even better yields on studios, but you don't necessarily get the capital growth.
Correct.
Capital growth really is skewed towards 2 beds and 3 beds.
Yep.
Those are typically an end user product. And if you have an end user apartment, that's where you're going to see the greatest rise in capital growth.
And the reason you see the greatest rise, and this is another thing to bear in mind, which people don't realise, so when you have an off-plan development, effectively the finance buyers, they don't even exist until 3 months before completion.
Correct.
Because that's when they're going for their mortgage approvals. So once they've got their mortgage approval, they're looking for their nice townhouse, they can't afford it, now they're looking for their nice 3-bed apartment. So when an end user is buying anything to live in, it becomes an emotional buy. It's not about how much money they can make. So we know when somebody's buying a home, if they love that home and they really want to live there, they will pay a premium, they will pay extra. An investor wouldn't. That's the difference. And it's going to be those end users that are going to be going for the 2s and the 3 beds in these areas.
Yeah, the investor's always going to look at what he's going to get his return. That's how he's going to value the property. Callum's just walked past again. How does he do that? Look, there he goes again. Look.
Thank you, Callum.
He's doing it on purpose. Thank you, Callum. Yeah. It's a short one. Very good. And so just to go back to things. So look.
Another thing I'd like to touch on, Stephen, if I may, is just one thing. So with the townhouses and villas, now we all know there's a shortage of townhouses and villas. That's not in dispute. We know they need to build a lot more.
Yes.
All of the developments they launch, particularly the townhouses, they will sell out very, very quickly. Now, what they also sell out on is an 80-20 or a 90-10 payment plan. So all of these off-plan buyers who are buying these investment properties, the townhouses and villas, obviously, they've got to accept that it's a good investment, but a lot of their cash flow is going to be tied up just because of the payment plan. Now, switching to the 2-3 bed apartments, where some of these developers have got excellent payment plans, 50/50s, 40/60s, even post-handover. For instance, this gives that investor the opportunity. He could think, I could buy one townhouse and get X return, or actually, with a 50/50 payment plan, I could buy 2-3 beds, get finance for the 2 remaining 50% on completion. And when you actually work out the rental yield on those 2 units against one townhouse, I can guarantee you it's going to be far greater.
Good point.
Yes.
Let's talk about prices. So typically a 3-bed townhouse today in any new development is going to be launched at around 2.3, 2.4 million, would you say? That's the cheapest, and that's for less than 2,000 square feet. Yes?
Yes.
Ranches, Valley, what else is there? Yeah, Emaar South, etc. That's approximately the sort of prices that are being offered. Now, in Arjan, not Dubai Hills, but certainly Arjan and Jumeirah Village, they're fairly similarly priced. What would you say is the 3-bed price in those areas?
I would suggest 1.7 to 2 million.
Exactly, and very difficult to find. There was a development recently by a very good developer called Iman. They're well known for delivering the Oxford Gardens series of buildings. They're building One Park Central in JVC. They sold out their 3 bedrooms before they sold their 1 bedrooms and their studios.
Yeah.
FYI. They didn't have very many 3 beds, but they were not cheap. They even had swimming pools. They were duplexes. They were very nice units, sold very fast indeed. So there is definitely a demand for them. There is a desire from end users for 3 beds, and also there are some savvy investors who are going after the larger units, knowing that the dynamics of the market are changing and being changed. It's being forced really on the market because townhouses and villas, they're not all developers. I mean, land is not cheap, and even in villa and townhouse communities, and there is less of a business case for developers to build lots of townhouses generally.
Yes.
Buildings are where you can make reasonably good money. Yeah. I don't know. What else would you like to say on that?
No, I think we've covered that. I just think
I'll just add one outlier to this, and that is Town Square, Nashama.
Yes,
where you can find a 2-bedroom now for just over 1 million, 1.2 million. A 3-bed is starting at around 1.7. So, and that's very much a family-centric community.
Lovely community.
I know we didn't get the figures on that, but. Definitely worth considering if you don't like Arjan, you don't like JVC. Dubai Hills 3 beds, 2 beds. Where are they being priced? They're more like close to 3 million now.
Yeah, expensive.
2.5 to 3 million.
Yeah.
And 3 beds, 3 million plus. No.
Yeah, and we love Dubai Hills, fantastic community, but we have to accept the apartments actually they're quite average. Brilliant location, average apartment. You can actually get a much better quality apartment in Arjan on JVC with a private developer, which we can discuss at another time.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. Moving on from there, I think something we have to mention again, because it is quite important, is what's happening with the crypto market at the moment. Now, as we know, a lot of people in Dubai are involved with crypto.
We're talking as March 2024. Just to timestamp this.
Yes, March 2024.
Comment about crypto.
Yeah, so we've obviously seen what's happened just over the last week or 2 weeks. Bitcoin, a new all-time high. Ethereum's gone up.
All-time high.
We already know that Dubai is considered as the crypto capital of the world. We also know that a lot of cryptos bought property in the last quarter of 2021, the last time that Bitcoin and Ethereum were at their all-time highs. And we also know that a lot of cryptos didn't buy property. They didn't cash out at the end of 21. And we're pretty certain they will be doing that around now and all of this year. So we're quite excited about that. There's certainly been an uptick in crypto business. It's a big part of the Dubai market. And this potentially, 2022 was the year of the Russians. 2024, I think we could look back at it as a huge amount of crypto business. What's your thoughts, Stephen?
Totally. I'm talking to clients now who are talking about they're sticking with their assets at the moment. They're crypto assets, but they all have some type of exit from their investments over the next 2 to 3 months, where they're not going to withdraw all their money, but they're certainly going to withdraw some money and put it into property or other assets to diversify their portfolios. And I'm talking to people now who I am very confident will be buying in the next 2 to 3 months. And one of the main questions they're all asking is, how do they do it here in Dubai? And you and I are quite familiar with that process. Do we want to talk about that, or we already talked about it?
You can talk about that, Stephen.
So it's we don't. Some developers do take crypto. We don't necessarily advise you paying your coins or whatever, your payments directly to a developer, because let's say their rates are not as good as you might find in the what do you call them? Crypto exchange houses, I guess is the name for it.
Crypto exchanges.
Yeah, crypto exchanges, who are much more competitive on rates. So we're basically, we as agents will help you through that process. I don't know that I really want to go into the wheres and wherefores of exactly how that process works, but
we can facilitate any crypto business in any capacity, is what Stephen is saying.
And also, any conversation I've ever had with anybody, when I tell them the sort of rates that people in Dubai will charge them, they are shocked at how low they are in comparison to their own countries.
With a lot less documentation that you want in other countries, and with zero tax, which we know that the tax rates in other parts of the world are above 40%, hence why Dubai is so attractive for our crypto friends. Thank you, Stephen. Right, what I would like to just speak about now...
We're being quite serious in this one, aren't we?
Yes, we are, yeah. We'll stay like that, because then they say we're boring. What I wanted to touch on with the last thing was that, and I can say this because this has happened to me over the last 4 weeks. So I've got a group of investors coming over actually in next week and the following week. There's about 40 of them. So I've been speaking to 10, 15 of them over the last week.
You're going to get a bigger car?
No. They
a coach? Or what are you going to do?
I don't know what I'm going to do, actually. I was thinking of getting a roof rack.
Yes?
Yes.
You can have a roof rack on yours because you haven't got a sunroof on your car.
I don't want a sunroof on my car because it gets full of sand.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so you've got 40 investors coming over the next couple of weeks.
Anyway, the point...
Do they all know each other?
They do through one person who is in charge of the fund.
Wow. Okay.
But this is the important point of this is that I've been having the same conversation. Because I've been having the same conversation, then it's become more relevant to me. And the conversation is as follows. So they're saying, Paul, what have you got in Dubai? What property would you recommend? Now, obviously, that's a much bigger question now. Now, my answer going back is we've got effectively, these are the choices. We could even go into an up-and-coming area where we see great value, good rental potential, and good room for capital growth. That will be somewhere like an Arjan or JVC, an entry-level investment. Then we have prime real estate, where we're talking about somewhere like Burj Khalifa district. We've got a new launch coming up called the Rove, which we're excited about in the next week.
Be sold by the time this goes out.
Yes, that is prime real estate. If you want to be, in the heart of the central business district, 10 minutes from Zuma, 10 minutes from DIFC, 15 minutes from the beach. You go for Rove. And then the other one, which we will have all year, which, as you know, us at Haus & Haus are absolute massive believers in, is Expo. So effectively, up-and-coming area, prime real estate, Expo. We have those three choices. What suits your investment strategy, sir?
Interesting that you mentioned Zuma as being a point of distance.
Everyone knows. You know what? Do you know what? If I say DIFC, a lot of people say, what's that?
Yeah.
If I say Zuma, everyone knows it.
Interesting. I've never thought of it like that. Well, I'm learning from you, as I always have.
You have.
Yeah. I think you learn from me sometimes.
I did.
You learn how not to do it, probably.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Look, so trouble with some of the projects you've just mentioned there is they're probably going to get sold out by the time this someone is listening to this.
Not Expo, but yes.
Well, no, but there'll be some other alternatives. There'll be another alternative for Rove as well.
So this is what the reason I said this was because we have gone through periods in the Dubai real estate market where there's always something to sell. We know that there's always something to sell. Yeah. We don't want to just sell average. We want to sell at least good, but really obviously at that outstanding level, the very good to outstanding level. So to have more than one product like that available at any one time can actually be quite unusual. We've gone through periods of like 3 to 6 months where there's nothing for us to really get that excited about. At the moment, there are some exciting projects. Expo is very exciting. Rove, it's a great project. If people who thought they'd never be able to afford to buy in Dubai now realise that they could buy a lovely studio or one bed for 700 to $1 million dirhams.
Paul, you and I have been working together on and off for about 19 years. And this has been how the market has been for those 19 years.
Yes.
You and I have identified specific projects over that time, and it's not like a London bus, they all come at the same time by any means. They can be sporadic, they can be huge lengths of time where we just think, well, what are we going to sell? I remember many conversations with you. What can we offer? We've got a client with 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. What can we offer him? We don't have anything that we are excited enough to offer. And I think right now there are a handful of projects in Dubai that are they fit every budget, they fit every strategy, each individual one doesn't fit all strategies, but they will always fit someone's strategy. Yes?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. Because,
and maybe in 3 months' time that won't be the case. I'm just saying. But at the moment, we have them.
Yeah, no, and it's exactly right. And it's, I can speak to an investor. They might have exactly the same budget. They might have, 2 million dirhams. One of those investors, he says to me, Paul, I want to buy 2 or 3 small apartments in an up-and-coming area just to get 8% to 10% rental yield.
Yes.
I'm not that bothered about the capital appreciation. I'm just going to keep them, 10-year investment.
Of selling.
I've got another investor with 2 million dirhams. He says, Paul, I want to get the best possible unit I can in the best possible location. For instance, the Burj Khalifa district. So I would say, right, you get a 1-bed in Rove.
Yeah.
Everybody's different with the same budgets. And it's for us, obviously, to have that discussion, whether it's a payment plan, cash flow, location, the project, whatever it is, for them to make the right choice.
Look, I totally agree. And I think that's what maybe differentiates people with agents with a lot of experience, in that we do know what works. We have a history and experience. So we're not just ramming a project down someone's throat, whether they're one project fits all.
Yes.
We're doing it the other way around. We're finding out what their exit strategy is, what budget, yes, is always important, but it's what they're planning to do. Do they want lots of capital growth? Do they want high yield? Do they want to flip it? Do they want to sell it 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years down the road, etc.? Or do they want to even stay in the apartment themselves? Sometimes a lot of people, I'm talking to a lot of people, as you would expect at my age, who are thinking of coming here to retire.
Yes, years ago, people saying, "Oh, I'm going to go and retire in Dubai," they'd have laughed. It wouldn't have been an option. No. It's a very good option now, and the Dubai government has, they've got the retirement visas, they've got the over 55 visas. That didn't exist 10 years ago. Yes, welcome to all.
Yeah. I might just stay here myself.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yes, I'm going to stay here, I think. This is the best place in the world currently, and probably will be for the next 10 years.
Well, you've got 40 investors. You could probably retire in it by the end of the year.
Well, I don't know if they're all going to buy, Stephen, but it's just nice to have that conversation with them.
So on that same subject, I made some notes the other day because someone said to me that Dubai, it's all about oil, gas, property and tourism. Yes.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
No.
No, I know you don't agree, but a lot of people think that's what Dubai is all about. It's all about property. It's all fake. It's tourism.
I'll tell you what, Stephen, and I'm being serious here. Isn't it a shame that people think that?
Yes.
Isn't it a shame that people haven't given Dubai a chance? They just read some newspapers or they read some news articles. They form this opinion. Some have only been here for a week or one holiday or maybe never. And they've got this big opinion on Dubai that it's this and it's that. And you're like, but have you spent any time here?
Yeah, exactly.
No. So,
I was out with some people yesterday, actually, a lovely couple. They've been coming here many years. They've never been further than Jumeirah. And they thought they knew Dubai. They got in my car, I gave them a tour for about 3 or 4 hours, and they were astonished at what was available. Incidentally, I took them to Expo, and they loved it. So look, I just got some numbers here that I got off the internet in the last couple of days, just to show people. Oil, less than 1% of Dubai's GDP.
Really?
Yeah. Real estate, 7%. Now, I personally would have put it a much higher figure.
Yes,
I don't know about you.
Yeah, no.
7% of GDP. Now, construction is a different thing, but I'm just talking about real estate, sales, rentals, etc. That business is just 7% of GDP. Tourism, 5% of GDP.
This is amazing.
I know. Wholesale and retail, so shops, reselling, etc., car business, all that, that's 26% of GDP.
26% best shopping malls in the world, makes sense.
There you go. Transport and logistics, so that's your airlines,
Emirates Airlines,
and the ports, and the a lot of people don't realise that this is a hub for re-exporting products. So cars come in here and then they get redistributed around the Middle East, South Asia, etc. Even food comes in here, comes into Jebel Ali, comes by plane or via boat, ship, etc., and eventually by train when they build the train, the railway, and then it gets redistributed, etc. So that's a big business. Banking and insurance, 10%. Manufacturing, 9%. One more thing.
Go on then.
Two more things, which I thought was just amazing. Dubai is the world's largest diamond trading hub, alongside Antwerp.
Really?
Yep. 25% of the world's gold trade is done in Dubai.
Okay.
And astonishingly, we are the second largest. I'm laughing because I don't believe it, but apparently this is true. We are the world's second largest re-exporter of tea.
Really?
Yeah. It's a mega business. Tea and coffee. I don't know what the figure is for coffee, but tea, we are the second largest re-exporter. There are warehouses.
That's amazing because
in the desert somewhere, which is full of tea.
Because it's going from Asia to Europe, so we're in between.
Yeah.
There you go.
So why isn't it going from Asia directly to the UK? Or to Europe, but it's coming here. It's being stored here, then it's being re-exported and sent over, or possibly even packaged here.
They are actually. I mean, generally, they are amazing figures. One thing I'd just like to add with the banking part, which takes up 10%. This is just one thing which people won't know, or a lot of people won't know. So this is giving an idea of what's happening in DIFC, the Dubai International Financial Centre. So the beginning of 2021. There was 2,500 registered financial companies in DIFC. Now there is 5,500 registered financial companies in DIFC, and they are taking more applications for new financial companies than they've ever taken before. So I think that tells us that the financial sector of Dubai, which effectively is, the region, is growing exponentially.
No, there is a plan it's called the D33 Economic Plan with the government, which was D33. It's a 10-year plan. It was introduced last year, where the Dubai financial centres will be certainly, they're trying to get into the top 5 in the world. I don't know if they'll do it in that time, but they're certainly...
This is Dubai, Stephen, they will.
Yeah, that's true. Never underestimate what Dubai is capable of doing. That is the biggest mistake that people do at Dubai.
Mistake you can make.
Yeah, underestimating. Anyway, talking about properties, I know we've mentioned Arjan and the fact that 3 beds, we've just brought it into there. What have you seen recently that we can talk about? Tell me. You're working on the Rove with your team. Give me some pointers on what I should be telling my investors about the Rove.
This is why I like the Rove. So. Effectively, you've got, it's going to have, Rove is a joint venture between Maras and Emaar, 2 of the best names in the Dubai real estate market. So fantastic reputation. So it's a joint venture between them. It's effectively, Rove is a brand. So you're buying a furnished studio, 1 bed or 2 bed, quite funky design, masses of amenities in the building. We talk, I think, over 44 different facilities, swimming pools, gyms, everything you could ever want.
Yoga lounge
as well. Your 3-minute walk from the Canal Boulevard. Your 5-minute walk from Mama Shelter, which will be Party Central Hotel in Business Bay by the end of the year. Look into that. I just think when you look,
Directly next, you're right next door to the biggest park.
You're right next door to the biggest park in Business Bay. You're also actually, which people don't know, or a lot of people don't know, you're 3 kilometres from the beach on a cycle and running track. So you could get to the beach in 15 minutes at the weekend.
Yeah, you have to cycle quite fast.
Well, I think you would do it. Yeah. So let's say 20 minutes, let's say 30 minutes. Okay. But the point I'm making is that literally of a weekend, you can go and get a Boris bike or a Dubai bike.
What are they called?
I don't know what they're called here. But you can get a bike where you can have a walk down to the beach. So we see the Rove, the entry level, £250,000, less than 300,000 euros for a studio apartment in the heart of the city, 10 minutes from literally everything, the financial centre, the canal, the beach. When you compare that to any other major financial centre in the world, it's probably a third to a quarter of the price per square foot. So yeah, Rove is one to look at, definitely.
One of the issues, of course, is but we're expecting this to sell out very fast, but there will be more Roves. So if you miss this opportunity of the Business Bay Central Business District, we do know that there is going to be another one very shortly. There's already been one in downtown, which sold out, I think, within a day, wasn't it? It's a much smaller building, but there will be another one coming after the one in Business Bay.
Yes.
So we'll still probably, hopefully, depending on the pricing, the facilities and the location of that one, we will also be very enthusiastic about that development. Anything else you've seen?
I think, no, we've got Rove and Burj Khalifa district. As I said, we're taking a keen interest in Arjan at the moment. And, if any investor comes to me and says, Paul, what have you got in Dubai? Always one of the first things that's going to leave my lips is going to be Expo, Stephen. It's going to be Expo, because
the apartments are amazing.
It's just a fantastic master community.
I think what's interesting about Expo as well is that they released 3 buildings. It was called a Mangrove, and they've actually managed to develop another building which has many similarities to Mangrove in terms of size, quality, finish, etc. But they've made them look totally different.
Yeah,
and I think that's going to give people a lot of variety. It's not cookie cutters, which is a mistake that a lot of developers do in these master communities. They bring out too many of the same looking apartments, and they've managed to do something quite unique in each of the buildings. And there's going to be a third one coming as well along, maybe in the next 2 or 3 months. We'll see their third and last building within the centre of Expo, and that also will be very different.
Yes.
Very exciting. I love Expo.
Go and have a look at Expo, and ideally go with me or Stephen. You'll enjoy it even more.
Yeah.
Stephen, I believe that they've heard enough of us too.
Do you think?
I think that we've given hopefully some good information.
You're not very well, are you?
I'm not very well. No, I'm slightly under the weather today. But
you've done amazingly, considering. Is this for your audience or for me?
I've tried my best for you, Stephen.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure, and it's been very sensible. So thank you very much. We're signing off.
I've enjoyed this more than anything.
Yes. Until next time, we'll be back to normal.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you all. Thank you,
Paul. Thank you.